Alright, let's begin. Okay, so today we shall start with the writing test. But let us have a little run through on what IELTS is all about for anyone that is getting to take IELTS for the first time. So IELTS means International English Language Testing System. International English Language Testing System. And we call it for short IELTS. IELTS is one of the most popular English language proficiency tests. There are several others. We have the likes of TOEFL, GRE, GMAT, CAT, ACT, SAT, PTE, Duolingo. There are so many, but this guy is quite popular. Now, IELTS is of different types. So we have the IELTS for study, we have the IELTS for job, we have IELTS that is used to apply to reunite with a family who is settled, for instance, in the UK. Right? So, if you are applying to study abroad, the IELTS you are to take on should be the academic IELTS. If you are a nurse and you want to apply to work in the UK, or you want to apply to work generally, the type of IELTS you are to write is the academic IELTS for nurses. But if you are not a nurse and you want to apply for a job outside the country, you are to write the general training IELTS. General training IELTS. Okay. Now let's also understand that the IELTS exam is conducted following two formats. We have the CD, or you call it CBT, and then we have the paper-based test. So the CD, which means computer-delivered test, or you call it computer-based test. That format of the IELTS test, you would be expected or required to write the exam on a computer system. So if you are not conversant with a computer, don't go for it, because you'll be gambling with your money and the test. Right? So it is better you go for the one you are very much conversant with. Of course, that might be the paper-based test. Some persons might say, but my writing is bad. Right? So if your writing is bad, don't worry about it. They are not marking, they are not giving additional mark to anyone with beautiful handwriting. But just ensure that your writing is legible, it can be read. Okay, so these are the two formats of the test. For the computer-based test or computer-delivered test, your result comes out just 3 to 7 days after your exam. Your results will be out. But if you're taking on the paper-based test, of course, the paper-based test is the format where you have to write with your pen or pencil on a paper. The examiners are going to provide you with writing materials, but just the answer scripts. They don't provide you with pencil and pen. You have to go with that. Okay, so there you would be writing on paper, and then your result comes out 15 days after. Okay? Now, let me ask, what are you going for? General training or paper or academic IELTS? Gina, please can I have the second mic? You're going for academic IELTS? Yes. What is it used for?
It's used for, it can be used to study and to work.
For study and for work. Everyone can use it for work, right?
Yes.
Not everyone. It's only for nurses.
Okay, yeah.
If you're not a nurse, what do we use?
General.
General training IELTS. For non-health practitioners, you make use of general training IELTS for job applications. But for study globally, generally, you have to write the academic IELTS. Alright, so the IELTS generally is banded. Right? It comes in band scores.
Okay.
So it begins from band score 2.0 to 9.0. Okay? We'll just keep it around. Thank you. Now, if you are applying for anything, you need to find out what band score you are required to have. Right? So you work towards it. If you are so brilliant, of course you can have 9.0. Some people have hit that. 9.0 will also give you, it will be like a business for you, because business in the sense that if you score 9.0, I would send your name to IELTS, they refund back the money you use for registration. Right? And then we here at TATEC will also refund 10K from your training fee. So it's good business, right? You're making lots of profit. So work towards 9.0. Does it sound difficult? Look at the business side of it. Look at the business side of it. And put in as much effort as you can and hit the highest band score. But if you're unable to hit the highest band score, please land on the band score that will qualify you for whatever application you are filing. That is the most important thing. Don't plan to write IELTS twice. We don't actually pray for that. Okay? So what you need to do is work hard to write it once. And to write it once, you need to dedicate the required practice time for IELTS. Okay? So as you put in the required practice time, you will begin to see your improvements getting better naturally. Okay, so let's begin. The IELTS test is divided into 4 modules, which we call the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking. Okay, the listening test lasts for 40 minutes. There are 40 questions you have to answer. Each question carries a mark. And then there are 4 different sections of the listening test. The reading test lasts for 60 minutes. There are 40 questions. Each question carries 1 mark. And then there are 3 long passages that you have to read and answer questions. Now we have the writing test. Writing test lasts for 60 minutes. But the writing test is divided into 2 parts, which we call task 1 and task 2. Task 1 is supposed to last for 20 minutes, while task 2 is meant to last for 40 minutes. Now, task 1, you are required to write a minimum of 150 words. 150 words. Whereas task 2 should have at least 250 words. Okay?
40 minutes. You're writing. It's supposed to be 40 questions.
No.
Reading. Okay. In the reading aspect, you said 60 minutes, 40 minutes. So I think it's 40 questions.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, 40 questions. Thank you. Now, your task 1, the highest rate you would get from it would be 33.31%, while your task 2 gives you 66.69%. Then let's go to the speaking test. Here you spend about 10 to 15 minutes. And then it is divided into 3 parts. Okay, so this is what your IELTS exam looks like. These are the 4 areas you are tested on. So please, you have to understand them and know what to expect when you go for the exam proper. Now let's look at the listening test. On the day of the exam, the first thing you're going to take on, if you are taking on the LRW, that's listening, reading and writing, the first thing you will be given would be the listening test. Now when you are giving the listening test, or before you are giving the listening test, you would have tested the headphones and be sure that they are working. Okay? If the headphones are not working, please call the attention of the examiners or supervisors to either replace it or fix it. Once everything is confirmed to be working perfectly, then the exam will begin. The examiners or supervisors will go around to distribute the question papers and the answer booklets. That is, if you are taking on the paper-based test. But if it is a computer-delivered test or computer-based test, you will be assigned to a computer system and they will set up the listening test for you. So once you are asked to begin or advised to begin, an audio will be played for everyone. So you are expected to listen attentively, read alongside what is written, and then when you hear your answer, you write. Please do not drift, do not heed to any form of distraction. Don't remember any business that you are about to hit. Don't remember any contract you are pursuing. Do not think of family issues. Let your 101% attention and concentration be there for that 35 to 40 minutes. Because the listening test is never played twice. It's just once. And anyone that passes you by is gone forever. So please, pay maximum attention to whatever that is being played. So as you listen and read and hear your answer, you write. So you are going to answer 40 questions. Each question carries the same mark, and of course is divided into 4 sections. When we get to the listening training session, I will give you a breakdown of how it should go. Let's look at reading tests. For reading test, you'll be given question booklet. And of course, you already have your answer paper, because the answer paper contains or comprises 2 sides. The side for listening and the other side for reading. So when you're done with the listening test, you will still have, or you still keep the answer paper to yourself. But the examiners will retrieve the question from you. So when they distribute the question booklet of the reading test, you are now expected to turn the other, flip to the other side of the answer paper to use for your reading test. You're going to read for 60 minutes to answer 40 questions. And of course, each question carries 1 mark. Then there are 3 long passages alongside other extracts that make up the complete reading test. So you have to read and answer the question. There is no additional time that will be given to you to write your answers. Unlike when you are taking on some listening practices, you would hear in a real IELTS test, you won't be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers. They will say that to you. But I tell people, do not bank on that. try as much as possible to transfer your answers directly to your answer sheet, because the little time you be given to transfer your answers may not be enough. And any answer you don't transfer to the answer sheet does not count. So 60 minutes right here covers everything. Both the time you have to read, both the time you have to answer the questions. So please have very good time management skill and work with it. Now the next thing right here is the writing test. Writing test lasts for another 1 hour. And then it's divided into tasks 1 and 2. Task 1 differs, or it varies. It depends on what you are applying for. If you are a nurse, your task 1 is what we call report writing. Report writing, task 1. But if you are not a nurse, but you are applying for a job anywhere in the country, maybe your job is outside medical field, then your task 1 is not academic, is not report writing, but it's going to be letter writing. So you have to know what you should expect based on what you are applying for. Then task 2, whether you are a health practitioner or you are not, your task 2 remains the same. It's an essay. You're going to write an essay. So you're going to have 2 questions to work on, whether you are doing academic or general training. So the 2 questions will be the task 1 question, which may be report writing for academic test takers or letter writing for general training test takers. Then the task 2 is the essay question. You must treat the 2. It's not optional for you to choose anyone you like. You have to treat the 2. Then the 2 you are to treat, you are always advised to apply or treat the first task in 20 minutes. Within 20 minutes, complete your task 1. Then task 2, you are allotted 40 minutes to treat your essay. Then overall, it would amount to 60 minutes. That's 1 hour. For your task 1, it says at least 150 words. What does that mean? You should write nothing below 150. But you can write more than that. Okay? While your task 2, write not less than, or do not write anything below 250. But you can write more than that. Right? So these are the rates allotted for each of the tasks. Then, speaking test, which lasts for 10 to 15 minutes. There are 3 parts of it. Right? Now let's understand that during your LRW, that's listening, reading, and writing, you are going to do them alongside over 50 or over 100 or over 200 other test takers in the same hall. You are going to take on these 3 at the same time, but simultaneously. But a speaking test, you may likely have your speaking test before the listening, reading, and writing, or after the listening, reading, and writing, if you have subscribed for the paper-based test. You don't get to do your speaking the same day. But if it is a computer-based test, it is most likely you will take on the 4 areas the same day. Right? So these are the 4 modules of the IELTS listening IELTS exam. So please begin to practice intensively. Nobody can be over-prepared for IELTS. It's not possible. So you need to practice as much as possible. So let's begin. Task 2, which is an essay. Essay has more marks and more required number of words. Essay has more time. And essay is so foundational and rudimental that we cannot go to any other module until we have completed essay. Because it has some important topics you need to learn and understand. So it would be easier for you to now take on other areas. So task 2, which is an essay, let's look at what examiners work with. First and foremost, when you practice listening test, as well as reading test, you will understand that if you listen attentively, the answer you get for question 1, if he listens attentively, he will still get the same answer. Then you have two different locations if you are doing the same task. If it is reading test and you are doing the same exercise, the answer you get, if you read carefully and gets the right answer, it will be the same. That means listening and reading test answers are fixed. They are the same. Whether you are in Ghana or you are in Qatar or you are in Nigeria, if you do the same exercise and you listen attentively or read carefully, you will all get the same answer. But in writing test, it is never the same. Your interpretation of a question, that's where the whole thing even begins to change. You are trying to solve the same question. When you read the question, you will interpret it in your own way. Now, when you begin to solve the question proper, you realize that your choice of words will always be different. It will always be different. So you really need to be careful. Be sure to understand what you are actually taking on. Now, your dictions matter a whole lot. That's why IELTS examiners now say, okay, we want to get to evaluate everyone's writing using certain yardsticks. So that when we read her interpretation of a question and we read his interpretation of a question, we will be able to evaluate what they are able to do. Hence, these are some of the yardsticks with which examiners evaluate whatever task or whatever you have done for your writing test. So first, we have what we call task achievement. Okay, so these are the 4 yardsticks with which examiners evaluate what you have written because of the discrepancies, because of the variances. So examiners now use these yardsticks to evaluate everyone's individual differences. So let's look at the first one. There we have task achievement. What does that mean? In IELTS, you are being asked or given some concerns. Maybe the question might say, certain experts believe that children should be given blah blah blah, while others say no, it's exposing them to blah blah blah. So these are concerns raised, and then the questioner tells you, discuss these 2 arguments and give your own opinion. Now this question goes to everyone in the hall, and people now begin to discuss the issues based on your own interpretation. So examiners look at your task achievement by way of checking if you are able to express or completely respond to the questions following the standard template of IELTS. So the standard template requires you to have 4 paragraphs. 4. Don't write more than 4 paragraphs. Don't write less than 4 paragraphs. So task achievements would show that you have your introduction, you have your 2 body paragraphs where you discuss the issues, and you have your conclusion. So these are the 4 paragraphs you should have. And in the body paragraphs, the paragraphs 2 and 3, you are required to treat in detail whatever concern that has been raised. Right? So by that you are considered to have completely responded to the question. That would afford you certain marks for task achievement. Next here is task cohesion and coherence. So what is task cohesion? Your ability to show clear understanding of questions. Right? Now, you may read a question and have that understanding. It's very clear. You have read it. You can actually relate to what is written. But when you begin to now write or solve the question, you will begin to go west. So when you go west, examiner can only confirm that you understood that question based on what he or she is reading from you. Right? So, if you understand the question, it is what you are able to write down that will prove that you actually understood it. So please be careful when you are interpreting questions, so you don't misinterpret questions. Then, let's also look at task coherence, your ability to stick to the questions when you are treating them. Your ability to stick to the question when you are treating them. Right? And that brings us to my simple question. My simple question right here is, okay, Gina, please increase the handheld microphone. My simple question right here, please, if you're viewing from the YouTube platform, kindly like the video, and if you are a first timer, subscribe to our channel, please. Thank you. Now, my question right here is there a difference between digression and deviation? This is for you. Is there a difference between digression and deviation? Is there a difference between digression and deviation?
No.
There's no difference.
There's no difference.
Thank you. Sir, is there a difference between digression and deviation?
Deviation is when you go out of the question completely. Digression is...
Gina, did you increase this microphone?
Yes,
I want to ask the question again. Sir, is there a difference between digression and deviation?
Yes.
Now you've answered my question. Not I ran away. This is IELTS for you. If IELTS asks you, do you agree or disagree? What's the first thing you want to do? Whether you agree or disagree, then you cannot proceed to the next step. Don't start with number 2 when you've not done number 1. So the question was, is there a difference between digression and deviation? The answers you have will be yes or no. Then I'll come back for the second, please. So is there a difference between digression and deviation?
No,
They are the same. Those viewing on YouTube, please let me know if there is a difference between digression or deviation. Please drop your response on the comment section. Thank you. Oga said yes, that there is a difference. Now please, school us. Let's understand the difference between digression and deviation.
Digression is when you go out of the box a little. The deviation is when you go out of the plan entirely.
Thank you so much. That is perfect. There is a difference between digression and deviation. Deviation is when you are speaking in the balablu, when you are giving people a lot of bulaba. That is total deviation. But in digression, you are shifting slightly from the major issue of discourse, but it is still in line with what you're saying. Do you understand? you are citing an instance that is still related to what you are talking about, but you are not using the major point or subject you are actually talking about. So people tend to have more understanding of what you are trying to portray. Do you understand the difference? Okay. Now when you are responding to questions, of course, it is okay for you to digress so that you can buttress your point, so that people will actually have clear understanding. But please do not deviate. Deviating means you're writing OP. You know what OP is, right? You're going off point. You've derailed. Okay? So please, interpret questions correctly, and when you're writing, stick to that path you have chosen. Right? So that would pass the impression to the examiner that you actually understood the question and you have shown task cohesion and task coherence. Alright, let's go to the next one, which is the lexical resources. Lexical resources right here simply means vocabularies. Vocabularies. That's what it means. Simply put. You cannot have a wonderful band score in IELTS when you don't show off good vocabularies. So you need to work on that. You need to work on the vocabularies. By vocabularies, what are we looking at? We are looking at you showing off synonyms. You showing off antonyms if necessary. Right? So please work on your vocabulary bank and have a lot of that. Now, when you are using vocabularies, it is perfect you express things in the past, present, and in the future. It is also excellent for you to express things using advanced words. Please, advanced words. But that doesn't mean you should use high-sounding words that examiners would have to start using Google to look for their meaning before they read meaning to what you have written. There's no such time. Don't borrow the idea of Honorable Patrick, to speak about Krinkum Krankum, the Higi Haga. Alright? Just be very precise to whatever context you're trying to express, but make sure you're using a little bit of advanced words. Now, the last one right here is the grammatical range and accuracies. The grammatical range right here is talking about how you are structuring your sentences. Are you making it just simple sentences? That's not what IELTS means. IELTS expects you to show off advanced sentence structure, such as compound and complex sentences. That's what you need. Ensure you are expressing yourself not in brief write-ups and sentences, but show off compound and complex sentences. That's for grammatical range. Then, while you are still writing, IELTS is looking to see how you are able to express situations that had happened. So talk about past tenses using past tenses. And when you are expressing things in the past, also consider the subjects. So if you are using a subject that is plural, ensure to use plural indicators so that the sentence will be accurate. So that's what they are looking at when it comes to accuracies. So don't say, they was there. Is that a bad English? They was there? They was there. Okay. Please, correct my English. They was there. Correct my English. You said it's bad. I just expressed they was there. They was there. Correct my English.
They were there.
They were there. Final answer?
You said they was there. They was there. Oh, they were there.
Please correct my English.
Say it again, sir.
They was there.
They were there, not there. They was there.
They were there.
Yes, sir.
Sir, is she correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So the was there is a bad English. Have you been to the US?
No.
Go to New York. There you have gangster. You will hear English. You will know that the was there is even printing. Right? But in IELTS, it is total blunder. Because it's not aligning with the subject. They is a plural pronoun, right? Then was is a singular past tense indicator, right? I was there. He was there. I won. He won, right? So was is the perfect expression to use. But once you say they, please don't say was in IELTS. Unless you want to submit your answer sheet to you. Right? So the IELTS examiners are looking out for the accuracies of your expressions. So please work on that. So these are the 4 yardsticks with which examiners evaluate what you have written. And most importantly, correct spellings. Correct spellings matter a whole lot. So you want to also watch what you write. So let's proceed to the next level. IELTS examiners want to see you make what we call advanced expressions. Okay, so we have right there on the board 3 keys that will help you to achieve advanced expressions. 3 major keys that will help you to achieve advanced expressions. The first right there is what we call linking words. Now, what are linking words? What do they mean? Who has an idea? Please tell us a little bit about linking words.
I think linking words are words that like join 2 sentences together. 2 sentences
Talk to the mic.
together.
Let them hear you.
I feel linking words are words that join 2 sentences together, like and also.
Please, what are linking words? Your idea. Sir, please put us through.
Conjunctions.
Sir?
Conjunctions.
Conjunctions. Linking words are more like conjunctions, right? What do conjunctions do?
Bringing words together.
They join words together, right? That's what linking words actually do. And that's what IELTS wants. Remember I said earlier, or some minutes ago, that your grammatical range, you should show off compound and complex sentences, right? So linking words will be the key that will help you to achieve that. Linking words will help you to achieve compound and complex sentences. When you use linking words, you connect, you join 2 or more independent ideas together to become one. Right? To become one sentence. But let's test ourselves. Linking words. Let me begin with examples of linking words. What would you mention or give to me as examples of linking words? Examples of linking words. Examples of linking words. Examples of linking words. And. IELTS says give us something advanced. Avoid using commonly used and
However,
thank you. That's moreover. Please, if you really want to hit good band scores in IELTS, avoid those common expressions. Avoid those overly used expressions. IELTS wants more of advanced words and expressions. So, instead of saying and, please say however, moreover, although, meanwhile, more so, whereas, while, contrarily, on the other hand. Did you get all I dictated? Contrarily. Okay. These are examples of linking words. Now, how can we achieve a compound sentence? Or what are compound sentences? Compound sentences. Those viewing on the YouTube platform, please participate. You can drop your ideas on the comment section. And please like the video, and you're free to also share the link to your friends. Alright, please help us out. What are compound sentences? What are compound sentences?
Compound sentences are more than two sentences or two. I don't know. Where is that?
Did you say words that are big?
More than two or three sentences.
Is it joining two sentences together?
Thank you. Compound. Joining two independent sentences together. Sentences that can stand on their own naturally. You then put them together to come up with just one sentence. That's a compound sentence. That's what IELTS means. Right? And what do you use to connect them? What do you use to join two independent sentences together? Linking words. That's what you need. That's what you use to connect or join them together. Can you please give me an example of a compound sentence? Construct a compound sentence. Let me hear. I'll give us just 10 seconds to think of a compound sentence. Compound sentence. I'll type that now. Okay, it is ladies first, everywhere, even in the classroom. So,
I went for my IELTS classes today. Although I went in.
nice, nice, nice. Aha. So, just your compound sentence.
In the graph, okay, the first line graph illustrates the consumption of food in UK, whereas in London, the consumption of food is low.
This is how you know people that have been practicing for IELTS. All right, thank you. That's perfect. Sir, give us a simple compound sentence.
I went on holidays when I'm supposed to be training for IELTS.
I know, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. This is just one sentence.
Just one.
Yes, because of the supposed linking word used is not actually a linking word.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
When? Should have used
Why?
whereas.
Oh, whereas. Why? Oh, whereas.
Exactly.
You're right.
Okay. So these are examples of compound sentences. What about complex sentences? Complex sentences. What does complex sentence mean? Complex sentence.
I think since compound sentences joining two sentences together means complex is 3 or more sentences.
All right, no need asking again. Thank you. Thank you. So complex sentence or complex sentences are sentences that comprise more than two independent ideas. Do you understand this? There are sentences that comprise more than two independent ideas or sentences. Okay, let me give you a little example of a compound sentence. Last year, I traveled with my family to Paris. Meanwhile, I had returned from a brief official assignment prior to the trip. Notwithstanding, before we returned back to our country, we also had a stop at the US to see a family friend. This is a complex sentence.
No, you said compound. I was wondering.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh. I said I wanted to give a little example of a complex sentence. Last year, we embarked on a trip to Paris. Meanwhile, I had returned from an official assignment prior to that trip. Notwithstanding, before we returned back to base, we had a little stop at the US to see a family friend. All of these is just a sentence, right? So please, this is what IELTS needs when you are writing. Show a lot of advanced expressions using linking words. It will definitely and automatically help you to achieve compound and complex sentences. Let's go to the next one right here, which is sequencers. What are sequencers? These are words or phrases. Sequencers are words or phrases. Sequencers are words or phrases that are used to either begin a paragraph. Sequencers are words or phrases that are used to either begin a paragraph or introduce an additional idea in a paragraph.
Or introduce.
An additional idea in a paragraph. Okay. Now, sequencers help you to organize your points in a paragraph. Sequencers help you to organize your points in a paragraph. Okay, now let's look at some examples of sequencers. Examples of sequencers would be, first and foremost, furthermore, additionally, subsequently, consequently, nonetheless, nevertheless, contrarily,
Nonetheless, really, it should be one word.
contrarily, summarily, conclusively, in light of the above, These are sequences you can use when you are writing.
In light of.
Not one word,
Okay.
individual words, in light of the above. You can use these expressions, these phrases or words to either introduce a new idea in an existing paragraph, or you can use them to start a fresh paragraph. Do you understand this? So please, make use of these words. It is also important for us to understand when and how to apply these words. I'll have to take you back to the linking words. Please, this is yours. Thank you. When can we use, in what situation is appropriate for you to use, in what situation is it appropriate for you to use the word however?
When joining words, linking words.
Okay, not when joining words. The linking word is actually used to join sentences.
Okay.
No,
So is it when joining sentences?
no. But we will talk about this. In what situation is it right to use? When can you use the word however?
Because the word however, when you are speaking two sentences, or when two sentences are involved.
Yes, we know.
Okay, I should not present.
No.
When you are linking two words together, use however. Or two sentences together, use however.
Thank you. In what situation can we use the word however? In what scenario? What situation?
That's the sentence. Make the sentence.
When we want to join two sentences together. Two ideas, sorry.
Yes, that's the primary essence. Joining two ideas. But there are situations when you can use different words. You don't just bring one word and throw in the middle of two sentences. There are situations that warrant or make a particular this particular linking word to be correct. For instance, however,
Clarification.
when you want to buttress and establish, drive home what you are saying, when you want to actually establish a level of difference between two different ideas that you are saying or expressing in a sentence. You don't understand, right? Do you know what contrarily means? It's a linking word, right? Contrarily. For you to say contrarily, you want to oppose what you had written in the first sentence. He applied for a loan and it was approved. The money was transferred into his account. And he told everyone that he was traveling to the US for a job. Contrarily, he's still in the country and having fun with his friends. Do you understand the difference? The first expression sounded positive, but the second expression is now negating that first sentence. Do you understand this? You can't just say, you can't use and in such scenario. It's only in Nigerian English that they use and. Do you understand this? But once you are trying to express yourself in the right English, you must use the right linking word to make your expression very accurate.
But at that point we use contrarily. Can't we use however?
That's what I'm saying. It's however now that I'm explaining. I said it's when it's trying to express difference, opposition. I don't know if you understand.
Okay, so those two can be used together.
Yes.
However and contrary.
As well as meanwhile can also be used. Whereas can also be used for contradictions. Please, do you understand this? So let's come back to sequencers. When do you use the expression first and foremost? When do you make use of that expression first and foremost?
The beginning or end of the first in the beginning of the sentence.
Can I answer?
Yes, sir.
So I want to make a point.
When you want to make a point.
What is that talking about?
I think it's when you want to begin a paragraph.
Aha! The right expression. When you want to begin. When you want to begin. Yes, you're going to make a point. But when you want
At the beginning of paragraph.
do you understand?
Yes.
When you want to begin a paragraph or want to begin a particular point, so you make use of first and foremost, then you start.
Furthermore.
Aha! When do you not use the expression additionally?
When you want to add to the point it made.
Thank you. When do we use furthermore?
When you want to add more explanation.
Thank you. When do we use more so?
When you still want to add more information.
English in our brother. Senior brother.
Also,
Please, it is important you understand what each word stands for.
But what about in light of
In light of the above. That brings us. Okay, let's not be too fast. We shall get to that
that's when you
point.
want to conclude.
We shall get to that point.
Okay.
When do you use the word consequently? Consequently. When do we use the word consequently?
When it keep occurring.
So when do you use subsequently?
It's still the same thing.
Yes.
They are not the same.
Are you serious?
You use consequently when you want to talk about the resultant effect of something, the consequence of a particular action. That's when you say consequently.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But subsequently means in furtherance, right?
So the other one means when there is contradiction.
When there is an effect
Okay.
of a particular thing, then it is a consequence. So you are saying consequently he was deported. Do you understand? Maybe he went to the country, he was beaten and going against the laid down rules and regulations that are supposed to actually guide the conduct, because he is so used to the system in his country. Then, as a way of making life easy, he was invited and cautioned about the disobedience and breaking of rules. But he went back and still continued. Consequently, he was brought back home. Do you understand? So bringing him back home is the consequence of his disobedience to the rules. So please, it is important to understand when to apply certain words when you're writing. Let's now go further. When do we use the word summarily? When do we use the word summarily? Sir, when do we use the word summarily?
We use the word summarily when we are concluding.
When you want to conclude. When do we use the word conclusively?
It's the same thing.
When you
To
want to
summarize.
I know she will say it.
To conclude a sentence.
All right.
To summarize.
To conclude,
Okay.
use conclusively. To summarize,
You summarize.
use summarily or conclusively. When do we use the word in light or the expression in light of the above?
If you want to say a new thing like or
Honorable.
in light of the above.
Honorable of the mind. In light of the above, sir, what does it mean?
In light of the above means when you want to conclude something that you
It's still for conclusion.
Eh.
In light of the above is still for conclusion. But the approach when you say conclusively and summarily is different from, it's not the same approach when you say in light of the above. They have two different templates. I would teach you when and how to apply any of that. Okay, so these are linking words and sequencers you should use. So when you begin a new paragraph, you might want to say first and foremost, then you introduce or start what you're writing, then you go further and say additionally or furthermore in the same paragraph, right? So please be careful and bring in all of those words. They will help you to place your ideas in the right order, okay? Then, when you want to discuss another paragraph that is meant to contradict what has been said or stated in a previous paragraph, the right words to use to begin such opposing paragraph should be contrarily or on the other hand. Do you understand? So it means you want to contradict what you said or stated in the previous paragraph. Now let's go to idioms. Of course.
Sorry, can you give us an example of what you just said now?
Okay, my first paragraph, I'm asked to talk about the importance of technological gadgets to children from tender age. The importance of giving children access to technological gadgets. Because there are two issues here. A particular faction must have said it is important, it helps them in their academic improvements. While another group now say, no, please, you should not give them such access. It will expose them to a lot of negative vices. Now you are asked to discuss both sides and give your opinion. So my first, the paragraph 2, my paragraph 2 will talk about the points to support those who say give children access to technology. Do you understand? Then paragraph 3, the point will be to speak against this access to technology, which supports those that say no, that it exposes them to negative vices, right?
Yeah.
So once I've expressed my points in paragraph 2, and I say, first and foremost, giving children access to technological gadgets enhances their spelling skills and vocabulary, lexical resources. It also helps them to gain mastery of coding and robotics, right? And helps them to improve on their fluency, right? And pronunciation skills. Contrarily, this is another paragraph. They ask, granting access to technology exposes children to a lot of cyberbullying, addictions, indolence, poor academic performances. You can see that I'm now against the other. So, contrarily is used. Do you understand? Now let's go to idioms. Idioms may be considered to be informal expressions. They may be considered to be informal expressions. But IELTS finds it as a proof of in-depth understanding and command of English, because it's not for the common man to understand. Right? So it takes someone who have got
So it may be considered as what?
informal words or expressions. But IELTS sees it as a proof of your in-depth understanding of the English. Because idioms are not easily understood by an ordinary English speaker. It is someone who has been exposed, well-read, that would actually interpret the idiomatic expressions you need and make meanings to them. Are you distracted? Okay, don't worry. Now, these idioms you should use, please ensure that they are very precise in the context you are expressing. For instance, she kicked the bucket, right? She kicked the bucket means what? That she just used her right leg and kicked the bucket. That's a layman interpretation. But someone who have got in-depth understanding of English will not see it as kicking the bucket by way of playing or having fun. Rather, it means to you are saying, oh. So you are getting it.
She was outside.
Oh,
She just
welcome back.
Thank you.
I know what I'm saying. You so it's on there. Just a little time. So now, when you are expressing this situation, you are narrating an instance. You are buttressing your point about something that came in and people didn't take it seriously, and all of a sudden a lady went there, and because she was stubborn about it, it affected her, and eventually she kicked the bucket. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So she passed. She passed on, or she passed away? She passed on. She passed away too. Did she pass out?
No.
All of them.
All of them both?
Pass out.
No, since we are
Pass away.
Pass on.
What's the difference between pass on, pass out, pass away?
She passed on. She died. She passed away.
Maybe it's something has gone on. Why do you share?
Sorry.
Thank you.
What's the difference? Is there a difference between she passed on, she passed out, she passed away?
Yeah, very different.
Okay.
out is meant something like if this is out of the bucket, that means it's out.
Honorable, off the mic.
Away. When something that we gone.
To pass out and to pass away means the same thing, right?
Yes. Out and away. It's gone.
To pass out, to pass away, to pass on. Please help us. To pass out, what does it mean?
To pass out means passing out from a course.
Word.
To pass on somebody that died.
To pass away.
Pass away still remains.
Wisdom.
This wisdom.
Wisdom. There is a slight difference between the two.
Okay.
To pass on and to pass away mean the same thing. It means to die. Alright? Not to be in existence anymore. But to pass out is a temporary situation. It's temporary.
Pass out.
Yes, to pass out is temporary. When you lose consciousness, you just pass out. Do you understand this? To pass out is a temporary situation, losing consciousness for a moment.
Okay, that means somebody fainted.
Thank you.
This is the pass out. That's not
No. To pass out
Am I
would
saying-
mean to lose consciousness. Maybe fainting or
So what's the right word? Like what I just said now. I said passing out means maybe passing.
graduates.
Yes.
To graduate from a particular course or program.
That's pass away.
No. He used the word to pass out to complete a particular program. So I'm saying the right word for that is to graduate
Okay, to graduate.
from
Okay,
a particular program.
okay. Pass out is bad English.
Pass in that context, yes, is a bad English.
But in Nigeria,
That's Nigerian English. I'm not teaching Nigerian English
Say
here.
pass out now, like.
You know, it's a normal thing, passing out parade and the rest of them.
Pass out parade, right? That's more like graduation parade. That's what it means. All right, but you should also understand that in that context, it is a terminology. Yes, it's a terminology. Passing out parade. They call it POP. So it's a terminology. Either when you are on camp, right? Or you are graduating from a particular program. But in the right English, to pass out means to lose consciousness momentarily. Right? There is room for recovery. Unless one now deteriorates and progresses to a higher level of passing out. You know the higher level, what do we call it in medical field? Higher level of passing out. When the person has entered comatose. Coma. That's higher level. At that point, it is. Thank you. Now, these are expressions that you make in idioms that not every man would understand you, except someone who is well traveled or well read or well exposed. Another one you could hear, a stitch in time saves what? 9. You know what it means? A stitch in time saves 9? What does it mean? I will answer it with another idiom. A stitch in time saves 9 could mean make hay while the sun shines. Do you know what that means? Another idiomatic expression. Yes, please. Make hay while the sun shines. What does it mean?
Make use of your time wisely.
Okay, that's correct anyway. Make hay while the sun shines. It simply tells you that time waits for no one. So make the best of your time and opportunity, right? You would also hear someone say, he who laughs last, laughs the best. He who laughs last, laughs the best. What does that mean?
Never give up.
Never give up. Right? Nigerian English will tell you, who quits 9 lose. Right? It's not he who begins the race that gets there first. So, slow and steady, that's what it means. Right? Endurance. Another one will tell you that a patient dog eats what? The fattest bone or the biggest bone. Although we are now seeing the patient dog, it has lost a lot of weight. Looking very skinny this time around. Right? So this is telling you that don't be in a haste at all time. Right? Although in Nigeria you need to follow it as it holds, so that you don't miss out. But this idiom is saying a patient dog eats the fattest meat or bone. Another one will tell you birds of a feather flock together. As someone says, birds of a feather, now the same mama point them, right? So this idiom is also telling you that like minds operate in the same way, right? So please, you need to know when and how to apply the idioms. Make sure they are aligning with the expression you are already making. Make sure they are very precise to the context you are expressing at that point in time, and remember to make the right, ensure that your spellings are correct.
Better late
So we
than.
can use them.
Better
That's
late.
what I'm saying.
Better late than. Never.
Better late than.
Never. Is it right?
That's the way they usually use that expression. I don't like it. Better late than to be late somehow.
That being the late.
Than being
Be late.
the late. Better late than being the late.
That's why I know it's because it sounds somehow.
That means do not run faster than your destiny. Right? It sounds somehow to me.
Is it that? What it means is that what we normally use it for is, instead of you not being there at all, it's better you come late. It's just in my dialect we said
So why
money.
let's
Let me just
avoid
use it
that
this
too,
way.
because sometimes your meaning is
Misinterpretation.
You know, apart from misinterpretation, what it means in my own area now, you wedded 2 years back. Do you understand? And you invited me for that wedding. I didn't come. Seeing you this morning, I said, take this 1,000. That is what they are expressing in our own listing. That is what it means. Now my money have come, but it's late. It's no longer what that money is meant for, that you are going to use it for.
Another interpretation.
What language is that?
I'm from Upper
Another
Canada.
person will understand that.
Sorry?
Let me express it the way I know it generally. That
It's better
it is
come late.
better to come late than to be a dead man.
Yes, not because
That's the way. That's the general interpretation of that. It is better. That's why when you're traveling, they tell you, welcome is better than a right? So we shouldn't overspeed. That you will still arrive, even if it gets late.
The simple truth is that the understanding is always
Different.
yes.
better you avoid
Because like I know I was playing with a lady sometime, a Yoruba woman. I said, one of my brothers normally he knows how to book bese. So I told the lady, said, this is your money. He said, heaven you go collect them. For Yoruba, it means that she must die. But that was not what I meant. What I meant was that for her to collect that money, say he go
She
suffer.
go, yeah, yes.
You understand?
Yes.
But her interpretation was taken to their area. Say you must die. Say Nami go die. When he started saying Nami go die, people around say, what happened? It was a Yoruba man started interpreting. Say, waiting you tell him. I thought he said, hey, now you cause now. I said, cause waiting.
Okay.
Understand?
So now, that's why I started by saying idioms are considered to be informal expressions. Why is it informal? Your interpretation varies from another's, right? So, and I went further to say it is better you apply it in the context you are trying to pass. Because if you misapply it, it will thwart the entire meaning you are trying to pass in that message. So please, note that.
But this one now we are writing IAS. The interpretation will it still be same?
No.
Sometimes when I'm speaking to you now as Igbo man, there are things I will say you understand it
Yes.
direct. And if I say it to my sister here, it might be OP.
Okay.
And
Now-
I don't know who is the examiner is.
Now, don't worry yourself about IELTS examiners. They are trained and certified. They are not biased, right? So their interpretations are always professional, in line with the English practice. It has nothing to do with Nigeria beliefs, right? So please, that's why we are trying to explain this so that it will be clear to us. If you want to apply it, ensure that it aligns with the information you are passing across. If you don't want to apply it, perfect. Use your sequences and making words and your advanced expressions. That's perfect. Right? Okay, so let's go to the next level, which is the formula for writing essay.
So why do you use this word merit and demerit? Is it just one?
Merit and demerit? Okay, is it because it's a singular form?
Yeah.
Well, I can't as well make it plural. So it is safer to stay this way. When you read the question, if the question requires more than one, you give more than one. But the major idea right here is your stance could be merit or demerit. It could be advantage or disadvantage. It depends on the question. So everything in this bracket is simply pointing to stance. So it depends on what your question is requesting. Right? So here you have the formula for writing an essay. This formula has its basis on P1 to P4, meaning your essay should have 4 paragraphs. You know, when we are talking about the yardsticks with which examiners evaluate what you have written, I said one is task achievement. And that for you to attain task achievement, you would have to completely respond to the questions following the standard templates in IELTS. So here is the standard template. You are to have 4 paragraphs. Don't write more than 4 paragraphs. Don't write less than 4 paragraphs. So 4 paragraphs is standard in IELTS. So let's look at the components or features of each of the paragraphs. The first one, which is P1, you are meant to have 3 major features, 3 major components, or 3 major constituents in paragraph 1. The first one is the paraphrase. You must have a paraphrase in your first paragraph. So that paraphrase is the beginning of your paragraph 1. And what does that mean? You are to copy the question that's on your question paper onto your answer sheet. That's the beginning of your first paragraph. But when you're copying that question, you are not meant to copy it verbatim. You're not meant to copy it word for word. You are meant to paraphrase it. So that's the first thing that begins your first paragraph. So after paraphrasing, after copying that question in a paraphrased status, then you want to look at your thesis or your background statement. So that's the second thing that must be in your paragraph 1. Your thesis or background statement. Then the last thing that should be in your paragraph 1 is the stance. Stance could be opinion, it could be view, it could be suggestion, it could be advantage or disadvantage, or merit or demerit. It depends on the question. Question will always give you an insight. The question says, do you agree or disagree? What is this seeking?
Opinion.
Your opinion. If question says, discuss both views, is asking for your own suggestions too. So if it says, do the merits outweigh the demerits, or do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, that means it's asking for merits or demerits or advantage or disadvantage. It might also say, what are the benefits? So it depends on the question. It's actually a question that determines what your stance will be. Right?
So when does view come in?
If it says, why do they do so and what are the benefits? Maybe a question is saying that certain persons go to certain places for reasons best known to them. But in your opinion, what do you think are the reasons they venture to such places? And what are the possible benefits to them? So it's seeking your what? Your view. Please, you understand? Yes, please.
Sorry.
Don't worry, your class has not started.
I just want to ask. Now, in the question, you're asking for your own opinion. So, now, in the question, probably maybe they're asking for your own opinion. And can your own opinion be just one, or you need to just dice around?
Okay, thank you. Whatever the question is, your paragraph 1 should copy the question. If it says, what are the reasons? Are you supposed to write more reason? If a question says, what are the reasons? Is it asking for one?
No.
More than one, because reasons plural, right? So that's one clue to tell you that you don't need to write just a reason, right? If it says, what are the benefits? Plural. So you have to compose really, you must give more than one benefit, right? If it says, discuss both views, or it says, why do they do so? Why do they do so? Is it singular or plural? It's singular.
Plural.
Why do they do so? Is it singular or plural?
A.
Why do they do so? Singular, right? What do you think? Why do they do so? Is he asking for one reason, or two reasons, or three reasons?
Plenty reasons.
Plenty reasons.
Reasons.
Plenty reasons. Why do they do so? Is there any S in anything?
He's talking about they, plural.
No.
No, why?
The they is the subject, the people, the cause of the action. But it's asking, is seeking your opinion, your view, your thoughts as regards why those people do so. You can't ascertain that it's singular because there's nothing saying singular in that. Why? It's not singular. It may be singular, it may be plural. So in IELTS, to stay safe, give at least two. Do you understand? Give at least two reasons they do so. So this is your paragraph 1 is the fulcrum, is the blueprint of your essay. Please don't joke with paragraph 1. Please. You need to really understand paragraph 1. When an examiner reads your first paragraph, the examiner can foresee or foretell what the remaining part of the paragraph will be. Right? It is the engine house of your paragraph. So you must begin by copying the question because it is assumed that the examiner may not have a copy of that question. So it's whatever you are able to paraphrase that the examiner would work with. That's why you don't need to paraphrase wrongly. Do you understand? That's why it is important that you give a replica. Replicate the same question that's on the question paper onto your answer sheet, but not verbatim. So you need to learn. Don't worry, we're going to learn that. I won't say you need to, but you need to learn that. Alright? So I will teach you how to paraphrase and paraphrase accurately. But I will not teach you vocabularies. You should learn vocabularies yourself. Alright? So once you paraphrase, you need to now decide on the path you would like to take. You need to decide on what you want to do about the question. Right? So once you have read the questions carefully and you've decided on the path you like to take, it is now left to you to make a background statement. What is this background statement? In politics, it is called... No, let me not say it. In politics, what do people do? What do politicians do when they are faced with a mammoth crowd and they are now telling the mammoth crowd something? What do you call that thing? When election is around the corner. Campaign. That's campaign. That's what they do. They organize people, bring people together. Then there's something they read to the people and tell them. What do you call that?
Manifesto. Manifesto.
Manifesto. That's when they begin to promise you that if you vote me as your governor, I promise you everyone will own a duplex. In my state, my governor said, I promise you 4,000 people will have a job in Canada. Why not in your state? I'll pay your flight ticket. What happened to the state? And people were jubilating. Yay! So that is called manifesto. In IELTS, your manifesto is your thesis or background statement. What does that mean? You must clearly establish what you will do in the essay. You must clearly establish what you would or what you intend to do in the essay. Right? And after that, your thesis or background statement, you now write clearly your stance. But you do not need to establish your points, the points you're going to discuss when you are giving your background statement. You don't need to include that. But you need to give a green light to tell the examiner, I'm going to do this and that. But don't add the points there. For instance, if the question says, do you agree or disagree? And you feel you have better points to agree. You don't need to give the points that you're going to use to show your agreement. But you need to establish that in this essay, I'm going to write to agree with the issue raised. Please, you understand the difference? Then your stance should be clearly spelled out, clearly written in your paragraph 1. And after that, you go to your paragraphs 2 and 3. These two paragraphs are where you need to now discuss the points that you thought out before saying, I'll be doing X, Y, Z in this essay. Are you understanding what I'm trying to explain? The points that made you to decide that it's better I agree because I have more points here. Those points, these are where you come to discuss them, paragraphs 2 and 3. So, your paragraphs 2 and 3, you're supposed to have your topic sentence for each. TS means topic sentence. Then you have your body paragraph. That is the detailed aspect, the detailed version of your points, the topic sentence. Then an instance or an illustration simply means example. But for IELTS sake, please do not say for instance, do not say for example. Do not say e.g. You lose mark. You may want to say for instance, that's fair enough. But I will also advise you can avoid it. So what else do you use? You can simply say, to buttress my point.
Sorry. So we should not use something like, for instance.
I said, do not use for example.
Okay.
Do not use e.g.
Okay.
Then I said, for instance, may be fair. May be fair, but there are other advanced ways you can bring in example. So I'm just giving you to further buttress my point. To further buttress my point, or you say to elucidate further, to elucidate further, or you say one good instance to support my opinion.
When it is one.
One good instance. The example must always be one in each paragraph. That's all.
One good instance.
One good instance to support my opinion. Because IELTS says avoid commonly and overly used expressions. Avoid them, please. So these are advanced ways to launch your example without necessarily saying for example or e.g. or in popular for instance. So when you drop your topic sentence in your paragraph 2 and you give detailed version of it, which would be your body paragraph, then you bring in an example, you are good. Then you go to paragraph 3, you pick up another topic sentence, that's another point. Then you discuss it in detail, that will be your body paragraph. Then you give an example to buttress it, you are good. Then you go to your paragraph 4. This is where you wrap up. So to wrap up, you are advised to use some of the advanced expressions. We talked about that when we were giving sequencers, is that correct?
No.
Madam, please, what can I call you? What can I call you? Mabel. What can I call you? Jennifer. Chief, what can I call you?
Salami.
Salami. All right. Now, when we were talking about sequencers, I gave a list of words you should use, and I also explained further when and where to apply them, right? Thank you. Please, this is your microphone. For conclusion, what words can you use?
In light of that
I read that.
goal. Or summary.
Thank you. Thank you. Just read out. Let them hear. What word can you use? That's the last part. Conclusively. Perfect. So, please, ordinarily, people may use in conclusion, right? Some may say to summarize or in summary. Some people say in essence. Okay. So I'll say to wrap up. Like
Who is that using the bad English?
They are. For IELTS, they are.
In essence too.
Yes. In essence. What does that mean? As
In
much of importance.
essence, yes, like what I'm trying to say is.
That's the importance. Right?
Yes.
So please use the right advanced expressions to draw your conclusion. During news broadcast, you would hear them say, that is the news at 10. But just before we go, hear the news headlines. Recap. All this is important. In essay, it is also important to give a recap of all you have discussed. Right? So how do you do that? Summarily, or conclusively, or in light of the above. These are ways to express conclusions. Then after that, the stance you must have written clearly in paragraph 1. You need to bring it down to paragraph 4. But when you're bringing it down, not word for word, you need to also paraphrase. Right? Alright, this is the way your essay would look when you are treating your essay. Please, correct spellings matter a whole lot. Correct spellings matter a whole lot. So please ensure to check your spellings and carefully try as much as possible to correct yourself where you have wrong spellings. Most times, teachers will tell you, cross your T's and dot your I's. In IELTS, don't only cross the T's and dot the I's. Please proofread. Proofread, because you might not see the I's to dot because of exam condition. You might not identify the T's to cross because of exam tension. But if you go through what you have written, you may stand higher chances of spotting errors. Although it's not a guarantee that you will spot them. This is why professors, when they write books, they give them to other people to read. Those who will read them based on what they are seeing. Because when you're writing, whatever you're writing is coming from your mind. So sometimes the mind swallows some. You won't write them. And when you are proofreading, you might also at that point skip that part because your mind has also provided it in your head. So the only way out is finger pointing. When you do your finger pointing and read, you will be able to spot that is missing, A is missing. So you add that. Okay, so this is where we shall stop at this point. Tomorrow, Gina,
Sir,
what's your time telling you?
10:50. 10:50.
In 10 minutes. Let me show us something. So that we can begin to practice that. Sorry. People who sit in front, we only see them as intelligent people. Those are the bad, you see them as.
Yes, sir.
Don't worry, it's coming to you after this. Okay, please, what do you think paraphrasing is all about in your own words?
It's about changing. It will have the same meaning, but you have to change the words. Not writing out the word for word from what you are saying. But you have to change the word. It has to give the same meaning from what you are saying.
Perfect. See where people in front. Amazing. Okay, so paraphrasing, for note taking, paraphrasing is a writing technique. Paraphrasing is a writing technique of paraphrasing is a writing technique of restating an information. Is a writing technique of restating an information using synonyms or phrases that still retain the original idea. Full stop. In other words, paraphrasing simply means rephrasing an information accurately. In other words, paraphrasing simply means rephrasing an information accurately, devoid of ambiguity, accurately, devoid of ambiguity, omission of main ideas, or importing strange ideas. Strange ideas. Okay, so this is what paraphrasing simply means. Your ability to replicate the same idea in your own words, in ways that you are still repeating the same idea without necessarily copying that information word for word. Okay, so let's have a little quick test. Okay. So right there on the board, we have a quick test. This quick test, you would have to only paraphrase it. You're not solving it as an essay, no. You have to just rewrite the question, and that's all I want to see. So please, copy the question. Copy the question. Once you're done copying, I will set a little time for you to now paraphrase the question on your, somewhere on your notes. This thing was not turned on. Okay, are we done copying? Madam, are you paraphrasing already? Are you paraphrasing already?
No, sir.
Okay, are you done copying the question?
Yes, sir.
Is, are you done copying the question? All right, so we are to start